Eleman's book called My Book, Big Book of Fairy Tales, a collection of children's favorites. Would you like to try to read something? Would you like me to read some story for you? Which story would you like to listen? Do you want to choose, Eleman? Or do you want me to choose? Or do you want to choose? Do you want? Would you mind if Aruuke will choose some story? Do you want the Emperor's new clothes? Or do you want Dragon Child?
Dragon Child.
Do you want Dragon Child? What about you? Do you want Dragon Child? See?
Dragon Child.
Dragon Child. Okay, I'm going to read for you Dragon Child. Look at this picture. Beautiful picture. Can you see, Mommy? Oh, yes, okay. There was once a young man who was a woodcutter and very poor. He and his wife had no children, which was a great sorrow, but they were honest, hard-working folk with kind hearts. One day, the young man was working deep in the forest when he came across something very strange. Lying in the clearing, half hidden in the wild grass, was an enormous brown, shiny egg, so large that he needed both hands to carry it. Can you imagine, Elena? Can you imagine how he was carrying? Can you show me? Both hands, like holding like that, big egg, yeah? Like you were carrying your book. Can you see the picture of the egg? Quite big, yeah? The woodcutter took the egg home to his wife, who wrapped it in warm red flannel and put it in a basket by the fire. A few days later, as she sat sewing, the woodcutter's wife heard a tap, tap, tap coming from the basket. And when she looked at the egg, she saw it had a great crack in it. Then the two halves of the shell fell apart, and there, lying in the basket, was a wee little baby. The woodcutter's wife was overjoyed and ran to tell her husband that they now had the child they had always wanted. Do you remember at the beginning we read that they didn't have children? It was big sorrow. Sorrow means they were so sad that they didn't have children. And he found a big, large egg, and eventually from that egg a baby arrived. Yeah? Can you see that picture? Yeah? Okay. Shall we continue? He was certainly no ordinary child. He was covered in silvery scales, but a stumpy little tail and a face rather like a crocodile. Can you imagine? It wasn't a normal child. But to the woodcutter and his wife, he was the most beautiful child in the world, in the whole wide world. Time passed and the child grew and grew, and as he grew he became uglier until he was quite frightening to look at. Yet he had the sweetest, most loving nature you could imagine. Soon the neighbors began to whisper among themselves about the woodcutter's child. "See his long scaly tail," they said. "See the wings folded beneath his coat," they said. Look at this. You see? Can you see the picture? So it doesn't look like a child, does it? No. And what a hideous face he has, with his long snapping jaws. But the woodcutter and his wife loved their ugly child dearly, and he repaid their love. You see, still Mom and Dad loved. Even the baby didn't look like a baby. It looked so ugly. Mom and Dad loved him so well, so woodcutter's wife, the woodcutter's child, grew to his full size. And he really was an alarming sight. He had pointed teeth and long claws, and sometimes when there was frost about, he could not prevent a little smoke and flame from curling out of his nostrils. He treated all the village people with great politeness and kindness, but they were still afraid of him. They talked about him even more and more now, and began to voice their suspicions aloud. The woodcutter's child was a dragon. Can you imagine? That's how Dragon Child came. Their fear made them angry, and one day they gathered together all people and marched to the house of the woodcutter. They banged on the door and rattled the shutters and threw stones at the windows and drove the woodcutter and his wife and the dragon, for such indeed he was, out into the forest. Then the farmer heard about the dragon, and he gave the woodcutter no more work. And the family were forced to wander about the countryside, sheltering and in ditches, and begging bread where they could. The woodcutter and his wife soon grew tired and thin, but they never ceased to love their dragon son. They still love their dragon son. Can you see the picture? One day, the dragon led the woodcutter and his wife to the top of the hill. High hill. Can you imagine? High hill. One day, he put them on high hill and said, "Please wait here for me. I will return by sunset." Then he flapped his horny wings for the very first time and flew off into the clouds. The woodcutter and his wife sat down, weary, sad, and afraid. Weary, afraid. All day they waited for the dragon's return with their neither food nor drink. So Mom and Dad is waiting on the hill for a long, long time for their son. Who is it?
Dragon.
Who is it?
Dragon.
Dragon. Yes, that's correct. But let's see. Can be dragon so kind and loving son? I think it can. What do you think? Yeah, the dragon loves his mom and dad, doesn't it? Yeah? And now let's see the picture and let's read. At last they saw the dragon's wings outlined against the setting sun, and they prepared to welcome their child. The dragon flew down and kissed them both gently, kissed Mommy and kissed Daddy. "You have suffered much because of me," he said. "And I love you both so dearly," he said. "Now here is your reward." And he brought from under his wing a beautiful bag full of gold. "I have been to the king of dragons," he said. He went on, "and for your loving kindness to me, the king of dragons sends you enough money to live in comfort for the rest of your life." Then the woodcutter and his wife said that they had only behaved as any parent would do. And they cried when the dragon said he must leave them and go back to his own kind of dragon world. Although they never wanted for anything again and lived happily on a little farm for very many years, they never forgot their dragon son, their dear child, their dear baby, and they often looked for the shadow of his wings against the setting sun as they fetched in the cows for milking on the cold winter evenings. So they still missed and happily remembered their dragon
child.
Their dragon
Child.
or dragon son, yes, which grew and grew for full size as a dragon. What do you think? Where dragon went?
Dragon 9.
Good boy. Do you think so? Yes. Mwah, my clever boy. At the end.